Cherokee Indians were one of the most populous Indian societies in the Southeast during the 18th century and played a key role in Georgia's early history. The history event that the Cherokee Indians were involved in with Georgia that I will talk to you about today is the Worcester versus Georgia Supreme Court case. From 1820 until the mid-1830s, many campaigns were held to remove the poor Cherokee Indians from their land because Americans wanted to expand on where they lived. Wanted to expand on their land because where they lived, the soil was very fertile, so they wanted them to move west. This was because the soil west wasn't as fertile. Even though the Cherokee Nation had already specifically stated, we are aware that some persons suppose that it will be to our advantage to remove beyond the Mississippi. Our people universally think otherwise. We wish to remain on the land of our fathers, in their appeal in 1830. However, the request was disrespected, and Georgia kept wrongdoing the Cherokee society by abolishing Cherokee government, their courts, and developing a strategy to seize Cherokee land and distribute it among wealthy white citizens. Cherokee Indians had already claimed their land within the borders of Georgia, North Carolina, Alabama, and Tennessee before the U.S. and Georgia, so their land shouldn't be confiscated from them, at least without their consent. They had already established a constitutional government in 1827, and they were a sovereign nation, which means they independently governed themselves in their own form, not that of a foreign nation. In this case, that foreign nation being the United States. So Georgia had no right to tell the Cherokee Nation how to operate. So that's when Samuel Worcester, a white Christian man who stood strongly with the Cherokee Indians, stepped in and now defended against Georgia because he agreed that the Georgia acts were unfair as a whole. Samuel lived on their land and peacefully associated with the tribe, so he knew he had to stand up for what was right, and that was defending the innocent Cherokee people. It became especially evident that he had to stand up for the Cherokee people when Congress pushed through the Indian Removal Act in 1830. This act gave the president, Andrew Jackson, the right to negotiate removal treaties with tribes. In addition, in 1830, they also passed a law that forbidded all white people to live on Cherokee lands without a license from the governor of Georgia. This made Samuel Worcester's current home illegal. However, Worcester was fed up with Georgia and continued to live on the Cherokee land. So Georgia arrested Worcester, and he was sentenced to 4 long years of harsh labor in prison. John Marshall stated about the case, "The Indian nations have always been considered as distinct, independent political communities, retaining their original natural rights as undisputed possessors of soil on what should be American soil." President Jackson happily responded to that statement. John Marshall has made his decision, now let him enforce it. However, Worcester wasn't going to give up there. So he appealed, explaining that Georgia had no right to extend its laws to Cherokee territory. He also mentioned that those acts violated the Constitution, which worked well with the judges because he won, ruling 5-1 on March 3, 1832. They agreed that Georgia's laws regarding the Cherokees were unconstitutional and must end.